What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and I am super excited as I got this box right here, which, as you can kind of see from the tape, is from Beadle and Grimm. They have sent me one of their boxes, and I'll be honest with you, I've seen the prices of these, I've seen how they sell out so frequently, and I've always been very curious about what's contained inside. And, you know, they haven't been around for too long, about 3 years now, and they do these boxes tied to the different adventures. So I thought, we've got the Ravenloft box right here. Oh, God, this thing weighs like 10 pounds. So I thought maybe we could unbox this and see what's contained inside. So first of all, we do have a striking green box here with some sort of eye logo on it. It says Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, Beadle and Grimm's Shadowy Silver Edition. Now, a lot of the time when they do these, I'm used to seeing them for adventures like Wild Beyond the Witchlight or something like that, where it contains all the different pieces you would need to run the adventure. Now, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft does have a small adventure in it, but it is mostly a source book. So I'm very curious what we're... Oh, geez. Piece of paper fell out. What we're going to find inside here. And I am planning on interviewing the folks from Beadle and Grimm when I get to PAX Unplugged. So we'll see what happens. We have this sort of translucent raven feather piece of paper in here. And then right on the top, it says Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, Beadle and Grimm Silver Edition. So let's go ahead and read it. Dear purchaser, welcome back. Hi, it's us, the men, women, and goblins of Beadle and Grimm's. Don't mind us at all, we're just here to watch and wave as you make your way back to the gaming table. Some of you are walking, others are running. Don't run, running makes the goblins nervous. Some are wheeling your chair or following your guide dog or guiding another, but you're coming back. We can see you as soon as you arrive and sit down around your kitchen table, wormwood table, or the card table in the corner of the basement. Who cares what table it is? It's yours, and it hasn't forgotten you either. It's whether you eat your pizza, drink your drink. It's where you eat your pizza, drink your drink, and roll your dice. It's got room for your sister, your partner, your granddad, your queer son, and your non-binary child, and everyone in between. Everybody is welcome at your table because the table is where you sit in fellowship and do the work of heroes. We're excited that you're back. It means you've made it this. Far, and don't take that for granted because not everyone got to. But you're here and back and doing something that brings you great joy. Maybe with tears in your eyes or beer in your belly, or with your arms wrapped very tightly around someone you haven't seen in a long time. So don't mind us. We're just here to clap and cheer and celebrate this moment with you. You made it back to the table, and we are standing by you and loving you. Thank you for allowing our box to be part of your joy. Thank you so very much. We are so proud of you. Sincerely, Bill, Charlie, John, Matt, and Paul. I'm a little choked up about this. So, obviously, if you're unaware, this was the first return to Beadle and Grimm boxes post-pandemic. Yeah, that hit a little harder than I expected. And then this is also a guide that tells you what's in the box, right? So it says, box variants. When we start to build out one of our boxes, one of the first questions we ask is what should we put on the cover of the box? Not only does it become an important early promotion, this time around we love the idea of theming one of the masks of horror detailed in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. We have a couple of different artifacts in here. The Amulet of the Raven, the Ring of Asibius, I think it's pronounced, and a planchette. That's the thing you would use on a spirit board, because the traditional name is apparently trademarked by Hasbro. It's a bonus encounters. For the first time ever, we're presenting our own original content in a new and exciting way. Our Dread Tales from the Warehouse series contains 4 bonus encounters set in the 4 different domains of Dread. We're banking that your players will be hungry after running House of Lament. That's the intro adventure contained in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, included in the book, and you can dive right into these encounters, which can either be played separately or run continuously as one short adventure. They can take your party from 4th to 8th level, which might make them strong enough to journey to Barovia to dine with Strahd von Zarovich and Castle Ravenloft. We have several battle mats, right? House of Lament maps, the bonus encounter maps, and a spirit board. We have domain maps for the various domains of Dread. Exploded book. Yeah, we did it again. We broke up the source book so it's easier for you to play with. You can hand your players Chapter 1 and let them marvel at the new lineages and backgrounds while you flip through Chapter 5, all the horrifying monsters. We have 40 encounter cards. A staple of all of our boxes, we bring you 40 total encounter cards to help tell your most dreadful tales. We place a special emphasis on monsters from Chapter 5, those included in the Dread Tales from the Warehouse, including 2 original encounter cards with artwork by Claudio Posas, I guess. To make it easier to use the encounter cards, anytime you see a monster with a corresponding encounter card, it's in bold red. And we have some in-world handouts. The handouts are 2 wine labels, Dolan's Gallery Note, Deed to Halfrest Manor, Lauren Halfrest's Will, Lauren Halfrest's Death Certificate, and a supply ledger. We also have artwork pulled from the book. We've included artwork from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft and placed it on foldable sheets you can display on your favorite DM screen. And then some bonus art and some pre-generated characters. Okay. That's going to fall. Bubble wrap. Okay, first, right off the bat, we have some art. And then we have the artifacts. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. They are sealed in plastic, and we can see there is some art on this side. So, I mean, the quality is definitely here. I would be very interested to see one of the adventure packs, personally, because I would like to see how things tie to the adventure. Like I said, this one was an interesting one for me because they kind of had to... I mean, they added extra encounters, which I think is actually a really good idea, because you kind of have to stretch it because it's a source book. So we can go ahead and take the plastic off of that. And right in here, we have our Amulet of Ravenkind. Which, take a look at that. It's actually really cool. Got the little wizard's copyright on the bottom. But it's got the raven skull in the middle. And it's like this is a heavy-duty chain, and this... I don't know what this is technically made out of. It might have said in there, but this may be pewter. This is heavy duty. I don't think that I'd be wearing this, but, you know, you got a goth friend who needs a good Christmas present or a stocking stuffer. There you go. We have the Ring of Asibius, kind of in a similar fashion. Unless you want to give this to someone if they're cosplaying their character and they have this. Just a cool little skull ring. And then we have the planchette, which is contained inside this piece of plastic. Again, this is the thing that you move around the spirit board that tells you the letters that you would find. It's wrapped in tissue paper. Whoa. Check that out. You can obviously tell that that's shiny, right? And this is a thing you would move around. You know, everybody puts their fingers on it and you move it around. That is fantastic. Look at that, man. Again, if you are going to try to use the spirit board to play, whether Van Richten's or in some other instance of the game, I think that that would be very cool. All right, and then here we have, looks like these are just art cards. Well, they do fold open in the middle. So it says this one is Gothic Hero, and this is the Dampier Saria Sunstar and versus Vampire Jander Sunstar. So this is from Van Richten's Guide. This I do not believe is, and that's I think what all of these are just two-sided. And they said it was two-sided art that you could hang on your DM screen. So let's just confirm. But I believe definitely all of these ones with the blue outline are art. I think that might be this entire package is just extra awesome art. Which, again, if you're a collector of D&D based art, there's a lot of really interesting stuff here. And again, the art is phenomenal. Like, if you were a lot more clever than I am and had, like, clever ideas for, like, shadow boxes or some sort of collage, you could do all sorts of really great stuff with this. Alright, so let's move these out of the way. Alright, next up is this set, which I believe is the encounter cards, because that does look like a creature you would encounter. Oh, and it says included encounter cards here on this side, and it lists them all. So, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to open this. So, I mean, like I said, the quality is definitely here. These are high, like, good card stock that these are all included on. I like the handouts are really where it is for me. That's kind of what takes it to another level. So, alright, this last one here on the back, zombies. And it is made so that you could drape it over your DM screen. The only problem I have with this is the size of this. If I'm going to drape this over my DM screen, which you might not necessarily do, and it does have the entire stat block as contained in the monster manual here on the back side. If I was going to drape this over my DM screen, you could only do so many of these because it will just eat up all of your real estate. And you also won't be able to see any of the other stuff you might want to have as a quick reference under your DM screen. So here's a vampire spawn, right? This is Bright Eyes. It's a vampire spawn. Most of a vampire's victims become vampire spawn. So Bright Eyes is just her name. And we have next, right after Bright Eyes here. I'm not going to go through all of these. We have Lucendi. Appears in the Lucas Bite bonus encounter. Close up there. During a singing competition in which she is disguised as a bugbear named Grenhilda. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it for folks who don't have it, but is a spellcaster. Has up to 5th level spellcasting. Dagger attack. And then again, if I were to go through all of these, you'd see things that you're familiar with, right? So Were-Raven, right? And it's got the stat block on the back. Werewolf, so Air Elemental, Purple Worm, and so on. So you get the point. Again, I really like the concept of it. Like I said, my only real complaint is just the size of these. Is the middle just blank? Oh, these are inside. Flipping. It's halfway through, it turns over. But anyway, yeah, these are really nice. The art is fantastic, especially because some of these, like, that's a custom-made art for the monster from the specific encounter. That fits in perfectly. I think they probably obviously hired, this is, again, that Claudio Posas. This is very much, like, fits right in the style of Wizards of the Coast official art. All right, so we'll put that off to the side. That's our encounter cards. Then we have, okay, Beadle Grimm presents Dread Tales from the Warehouse. These are fully illustrated, fully color even too. These different encounters with all of the different maps, the different encounters that will take you past House of Lament. Which I gotta say, I'm excited to see because I was a little disappointed. Actually, I guess I'm mostly disappointed when these books try to do a hybrid where they're like a campaign setting, but also player stuff, but also kind of some DM stuff, and then they also try to fit an adventure in there. I feel like you just need to pick one. And that's not a comment on Beadle and Grimm, that's a comment on Wizards of the Coast. Like, if I get a campaign setting, I'm okay if you include new races, maybe a couple new subclasses that tied to the campaign setting that you're giving me. I don't need an intro adventure that takes up 30 pages in that book. If you're going to continue with your weird DLC model where you release a book and then release a product on the DM's Guild at the exact same time that contains stuff like they did with Wild Beyond the Witchlight, where the adventure is Wild Beyond the Witchlight and the DLC piece of it that you download on the DM's Guild is basically how to run a domain of delight and, you know, how to deal with running stuff in the Feywild. I'm okay with that model. It probably bugs a lot of people, but I'm okay with that model if you go the other way. I'd rather have all of the core material in the book, and then I have to pay extra for the adventure. Because there are a lot of folks out there that just don't run pre-written adventures, so it doesn't really apply to them. But I'm excited to see this because this does allow us to continue to play beyond the very limited, very short House of Lament adventure that's contained inside Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Now, I obviously have not read through these, but they do look like seriously well-designed encounters. I love the different looks of the maps. Treasure and whatnot is outlined separately. There are random encounter tables and things. Well done. Okay. We have this tiny little scroll, which I almost don't even want to open, and it's like torn and frayed edges. This is obviously one of the handouts, as is this. Then we have in here, these are more, it looks like more handouts and maps. This is the Certificate of Death for Invecto, or sorry, Lauren Halvrest. So we can go ahead and open these up, see what's inside here. So this is, again, the death certificate, which is, open that up. Look at the quality of these. This almost, it doesn't feel like, it's not cardstock. I don't think it's quite vellum, but it's almost, it might be. Like, this is a very nice piece of paper. And then again, we also have here is the Last Will and Testament, also in that same material. We have in here, oh, and this is actually, like, you can actually kind of see the texture on this. This is the Lawrence and Lance. This is the sort of supply, like the shipping manifest that we mentioned. And then if we slide these out, we've got, like, these are wine labels. Several different wine labels here. Now, let me take a look at that piece of paper we put over here, because maybe I missed something. Wine labels, the gallery note, one of those is probably the gallery note, and the other one is the deed to the manor, because we have the will, the death certificate, and the supply ledger. Okay, so that's what the folded up pieces of parchment are. I don't really want to open those up, because I feel like I'll never be able to get them back to where they were. And then inside here, in this particular piece, looks to be all of our maps. So, I have to take a look at that. Whoa. Look at the print quality on these. These things are fantastic. Holy cow. Oh, wow, okay. Whoa. Look at that. That is a beautiful thing. Turn it over and look at the back. This is first floor. I don't know if this is the first floor of the House of Lament. This is first floor Awakened here too. So, I mean, these are fantastic, high quality maps. Like, now this again is a paper. I wouldn't consider it dry or wet erase, but it feels like it's tear resistant. Like, obviously you could rip it if you pulled on it, but either way, here's the second floor map, the third floor map. Here is the basement map. Okay, and that I believe is the House of Lament maps. These I believe are the bonus encounters. This is the Blackmore Family Mill. This is one of the bonus encounters that's included here. I mean, these, look at this. And this is the Tomb of Tashkal, I think is what it says. Like, these are fantastic. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm a huge fan of maps, because I often feel like even if you have these and you're not running the adventure, you can never not make use of having extra maps, because you'll always find a use for things like this, because it might not be for this specific adventure, but you might be able to pull that map out, drop it on the table, and then build an encounter around it. This looks like this is just a poster. Oh, no, wait. This is the spirit board. See? And then you would take your planchette and you would move it around to spell out words or what have you. Okay? I would have liked, personally, again, there's an amount you got to keep here, right, just to keep the cost down. But if I was going to have a spirit board, I would want like a hard spirit board rather than a printed one. Just me. But then we also have, what are these? Bookmarks? See that? They're like, I guess, additional art. They do have that blue piece, which makes me think they are art, but you can't. You wouldn't want to drape these on your DM screen because they'd be sideways. But yeah, these are additional art. Art looks fantastic. Some of this again is from the book. I don't know if you would use these as bookmarks or what you would use them for. There's a whole bunch of them. Okay. Then we have what else? This is just, I think, the cardboard backing. This is... Oh, some more... Looks like more maps. Oh, no. These are... enemy things or these might be pre-generated characters. Human Cleric 1, Human Warlock 1, Reborn Barbarian 1, Dampier Rogue 1, Hexblood Druid 1. So those must be your, yeah, these are your pre-generated character sheets. I was a little confused because they kind of look like a monster stat block, but I guess that that does help keep it simplistic, and it's pretty much just a one-pager. We have some additional maps here. Small maps. I guess you might be able to even drop these on top of the other maps. And then this is the last one. This is just garbage. And then this is a tavern. Now this one feels like this might be wet erase because it looks like it might be a place you might attend multiple times. Taverna here. And then last in the... Oh no, there's more. Wow, okay. Then we have, this is the exploded version of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. So that's a thing I think I should point out in case you are unaware of this. It does actually come with the book. Now, it is not a hardcover version of the book. It's not the collector's edition cover. It is several booklets, as you can see here. The exploded version is what they're calling it. So basically what they're doing is they're separating out essentially all of the things that I was complaining about, how like you buy a book and you're like, oh, I wish I could buy just the DM stuff or just the player stuff. And that is sort of the benefit of some of the things like D&D Beyond. But like if you wanted to give your players just the new lineages and the two new... actually, it's character creation is right here. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And it has the section on creating domains of dread and character creation. So this will give you the two subclasses as well as the new lineages. And you can just hand them that and they can go and do what they need to do. This is Chapter 3. This is all of the different domains of dread. This is, Domains of Ravenloft, Chapter 3. This is also Domains of Ravenloft? Is this just, they split them? Oh, okay. They split them into two. Yeah, this is alphabetical through I, and this is K through W. And then that's Chapter 3. And then this last book here is Chapter 4, the adventure itself, and the monster book. Okay, so 4 softcover books, which are also nice because they do actually look like they're about the same thickness as the hardcover book, but might be easier to package them, move them around. And then we have this last piece in here, which is this 2-pocket folder. But if we open them up, it does have the various maps of the different domains. All right, so here's a Barovia map. Here is a Cratacis map, right? So this is the maps of the different domains of dread. These are the ones that are fully fleshed out in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft that have the maps in them. Kalkari, Tempest, so on. So, all right, there you go, folks. That is everything contained inside the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft Beadle and Grimm Silver Edition box. So let me know what you think about this box yourself. Would this, again, I've always been very curious about what's contained inside them, having never picked one up myself in the past. And like I said, this was kind of an interim one. I think these are what they technically call their silver edition, which I think they do like the silver edition of things for the sort of campaign module books like this, whereas I believe like the platinum editions are for the actual adventures, where it will include all of the handouts contained within that adventure. It'll include minis associated with it. But I'm also a huge fan of like collectibles and props, so like this kind of stuff, this is right up my alley. Like I would buy these individually, potentially. This is why I keep telling Wizards and WizKids, or, you know, Beadle and Grimm, maybe if you guys can, because you have the license, just make holy symbols on a necklace like this. Just make them purchasable by anybody. If I want to buy a holy symbol of Mialiki, I got a little unicorn necklace, or a holy symbol of Mishra, and I've got a 7-pointed star, or whatever the case may be, Timora, give me a coin on a necklace. I would buy that. I would probably buy them for every religious character that I've played in a D&D campaign, and I would have them, and I would wear them around my neck when I played those characters, and that way, you know, I could, in character, like, fiddle with the necklace, and it would fit and everything like that. That would sell. So, maybe Beadle and Grimm, you guys seem like you're up and willing to try something. If you're able to do that, I highly recommend you do that, because it will sell like crazy. And people, wizards and whiz kids are just throwing away money by not including that. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you once again to the Beadle and Grimm team for sending this over for me to unbox and review. I'm very curious to see what the other boxes look like. So hopefully, maybe if we're lucky in the future, we will get access to one of the platinum boxes for something like Wild Beyond the Witchlight, or maybe something coming in the new year. Like the Critical Role box or something like that. Plus, this is also just a very handsome box to sit on the shelf. So, let me know your thoughts. What you think? Would you pick this up? Why wouldn't you? What would they need to adjust to make you want to get one? And hopefully, like I said, you'll see me interviewing the folks from Beadle and Grimm over at PAX Unplugged. And maybe if you have some questions for me to ask them, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll try to ask them in person for that interview. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.